We are visiting Toyland, Toyland, Little Girl and Boyland with John Marshall, author of Action Figures of the 1960s. And before we move along to some action figures of the 1990s that are available today, we didn't get around to this guy in our last segment, who is?
Mattel's Major Matt Mason, Mattel's movable man
You
in
know
space.
all this stuff right off the top of your head.
Well, yeah, I hope so. Yes, he was made in the 60s. He's extremely popular and collectible today. He's just a little bendy rubber spaceman, but he's very, very valuable and popular.
Okay, now let's move along to the present day. These
present
are
day
that are available now, and
yes.
we have here.
This is
now very, very aggressive-looking guy.
Yes, very angry. This is the Green Lantern, a classic DC Comics character.
Yes.
However, this
was he always that angry?
No, this is the 1990s version of Green Lantern, who, like all 1990s superheroes, looks very angry all the time.
Well, that's because he can't move his face. That's why once angry, always angry. Now, this was is this still a current comic book
yes,
character?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And how much does one of these go for now?
Well, this is a KB Toys exclusive. It goes for about $20.
About $20 for
yes,
this guy?
You can only buy it in KB stores, which makes it very collectible and very desirable.
Now, 20, 30 years down the road, if you only have 100 of them left in the world, what could it become worth?
Well, you see, that's just it. That's why I hate Beanie Babies so much. The official Beanie Baby handbook, and I, as a professional toy collectibles expert, am furious about this. The Beanie Baby handbook lists estimated values for 10 years from now.
Oh, wow.
Which is ridiculous.
But
I mean, that goes against the entire concept of the value of collectibles.
And what it's worth is what somebody will offer for it.
Exactly right. And again, I want to stress rarity, rarity, rarity. The thing about Beanie Babies is people buy them and they sock them away. That is a guarantee that there will always be plenty of Beanie Babies in perfect condition.
My grandson must have 40 of them.
Yeah. And they'll never be...
Each one has its little birthday tag on it.
And they'll never be valuable because there are millions and they are all in perfect condition. Old toys are valuable because if they're in nice condition, they haven't been played with, you know, or thrown out.
Now here's a guy who was very popular then and is again.
Mm-hmm. And this is Dr. Zeus from Planet of the Apes, released by Kenner, as part of their signature series collection of action figures aimed more at adult consumers.
Now this was the character played by the great British actor Maurice or Morris Evans.
Morris Evans.
And I would assume that Planet of the Apes is having a bit of a resurgence in popularity because A, they ran all the movies on television recently.
On AMC,
and
right.
B, unfortunately, Roddy McDowall, a wonderful actor who was in all of the movies, passed away just recently. Wonderful guy, too. I knew Roddy, lived in the same building with him for a while.
It's, well, it's nice that he was able to be on AMC and host those segments before.
Yeah.
But
And here we have
Xena.
Now you know it's the 1990s, folks, because we have a toy with décolletage, or as they say in my neighborhood, boobs. Now this is Xena, who enjoys enormous popularity on television, with boys and girls.
Yes, and adults as well as children. Xena is a beautiful example of an action figure that everyone wants and everyone likes. It's a character that adults collect because it's a beautiful figure, and she's very popular, obviously, with adults. And kids, of course, she's a role model.
And also the fact that, particularly for women, she's a role model.
I think for everyone.
Yeah, but women like to see a forceful woman,
a strong role model,
portrayed
absolutely,
on television.
Absolutely.
Of course, if they went head-to-head, I'd bet on Hercules. But I'm just a chauvinist from way back. When did you get interested in all this stuff?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I grew up, obviously, playing with toys and loving all of these characters.
I did, too.
Yeah.
But
I just never went away. I'm just stuck in childhood mode, you know. That's the whole problem with me, is I just can't get out of it no matter what I do.
Because I said during the break, and I didn't mean it in a pejorative sense, because we have a silly kind of a show here tonight. First guest was a disc jockey who's mired down in the 1960s and 70s as far as the music is concerned.
Right.
Then we had the two guys, the goofs, who have never grown up.
Right.
And we have you who are still enjoying your childhood playing with toys constantly.
Right, and what I wanted to point out was, especially with this Dr. Zeus figure you were showing before, is that, if we could see that again, if the entire, that's it. The entire thing about toys today, the kids of the 60s and 70s are now running the toy companies. So you see toys that are much closer to their 60s counterparts because they're running the toy companies now and they create what they want to see.
Now, this is not a badly made toy. I mean,
No.
the clothes are finished with seams on the inside and
Exactly.
everything. It's not just tossed together.
It's a resurgence of quality. It's a return to the days of quality, large, better posable, better made figures.
And Zena's costume, the same. I mean, she even has her little sword back here and everything. Now, what do you want for Christmas, John?
What do I want for Christmas? I want a play model Japanese. It's called a play model motorized Red King. Red King is my favorite Japanese monster, and this is a toy with motorized working motion that was actually seen on the TV show Ultraman, which is where Red King comes from. And if somebody has $4,500 and wants to get it for me, if you can find one, please do.
Is that what
and send it to me at P.O. Box 340, Rancocas, New Jersey.
In the years that you've been in this business, what's the most expensive single figure that you have heard of?
All right, the most expensive single action figure would be something probably from the Ideal Super Queens line of female action figures from the 60s. You were showing the Captain Action Green Hornet before. They're made by the same company, and they made Supergirl, Batgirl, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman's wife. Those are probably the most valuable.
Okay, Action Figures of the 1960s is John Marshall's most recent book. If you are a collector, it's something that you should have. And if you're not a collector, it's a fascinating book to look at the old toys that you played with when you were growing up as well.
And another nice thing is you can go to my website and you can check out information on the books, a lot of other information about me and collectibles and all sorts of stuff.
Okay, John, thanks again for coming by. We're going to take a final break, and I'll be back to wrap things up and tell you who'll be in our next show when Jersey's Talking returns.